Magic.
You say under coven?
No.
Welcome to Under Coven with Sam
and Katie, the spiritual podcast for regular people.
Cool people. Fun people.
Just not boring people.
We hope you love it.
Okay, so I want to start.
Mm-hmm.
I have my friend's dream I want to tell you about, and then I want to get your opinion on it.
Are they okay with that?
I'm not going to say who it is, so hopefully it is. So she has this expensive coat that she got for Christmas.
In real life?
In real life.
Okay.
That she real life lost.
Okay.
And it's very expensive, and she's like me where she doesn't have nice things because she loses them.
Okay. It was a gift.
It was a gift. She can't find it. It's May, right? Or whatever month it is. She has this dream, and in the dream, an Asian woman is handing her the coat, and she's in her car.
The Asian woman's in the car, or she's in the car?
She's in the car, and an Asian woman is handing her the coat.
Like through the car window?
Through the car window. She goes, weird. Okay. Wakes up. Goes about her day.
Okay. I can't wait for where this is going.
Has grocery shopping. Goes to the hardware store. Pops into her nail salon.
Shut the fuck up.
Shut the fuck up. Pops into her nail salon to see if they can do something really quickly. They're like, no, sorry, we're too busy. She turns around, looks at the wall. Her coat is hanging in the nail salon. And there are Asian women in her nail salon. So they're like, she's like, I'm sorry, has this coat been hanging there a while? They're like, yeah, it's been there for a while. 5 months, maybe. She goes up to it, checks the pockets. She's got some of her old stuff in it. It's her fucking coat. So she's frantically voice memoing me like, am I psychic?
Yeah.
Am I how do you connect that even spiritually? Like what does that mean? Or even from a science perspective, how the fuck would you explain that?
Okay. So I am not a dream interpreter. I rarely remember my dreams. If I do, they're usually really fucking unhinged. I don't think you can make sense of them. I've had a few scary ones. I'm like, oh, there must be messages overarching when you have a spirit animal that comes to you or whatever the fuck it is, some snakes or your teeth falling out. There's general messages that come with dreams when there's those things. You Google it.
Yeah.
So I am not, I've Googled those, and otherwise I have no memory. But in this sense, this is my interpretation, is that she must have been, well, one, I believe in all connection, right? I believe
that's not a coincidence.
No, so the coat must have been top of mind.
Yeah.
And subconsciously, she knows where she left it. So when you're asleep, so there's two things. When you're asleep, obviously your brain waves turn off to a degree. You enter different stages of brain waves. There's gamma, beta, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's enough of a quiet that those messages can come through, A. But B, for me, the coolest part about sleep, and this you can probably call bullshit on if you want to, but your brain and your body enter a different state of consciousness, which brings you closer to our higher elevated sense of consciousness, whether you want to call that your higher self.
Sure.
Or for me, connecting with my brother, that's why when people die, they visit you in dreams.
Yes, I do believe that.
It's because the consciousness levels can match. So this is a similar framework with her, to me, with her subconscious and potentially her higher self. I don't fucking know. But I think it's about the brainwaves.
It's crazy though, because it's I think just the idea that you can do that, how do you tap into that more? How do you okay, I lost something. How do I just fucking dream that where it is? And there's a St. Anthony and stuff like that too.
I was talking about St. Anthony.
Oh, that worked for me once.
It worked for me when I was little because I believed all this shit and I was so connected. And my grandmother was like, St. Anthony, find your lost things, help me find my blah, blah. And
you just say St. Anthony basically.
Yeah. And I signed the thing. But as an adult, I was frantically looking for something. And I was I am desperate. And I asked and I found it.
No, it actually worked.
Yeah.
It worked for me. My keys were could not find them, right in the middle of a fucking table, and very odd. I would have seen them.
Yeah.
I just
you're saying they weren't there and then
exactly. But I'm so fascinated by this because I think, yes. So you just explained the science connection, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
But people everyone has dreams like that.
Right.
They do.
Right.
And then how do you explain that? Oh, it's just like a weird cross wires of like my waves.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm not only not a dream expert, but I'm also not an expert of quantum physics.
Explain this, Sam.
But if we had someone like a quantum physics or quantum mechanics person come on and explain like quantum entanglement and things about the brain firing, like they could scientifically explain to you why that happens, why when you like, so I referenced Joe Dispenza before, but he talks about entering the quantum field and how that like anything and everything is happening or has already happened to you, and that's just how you access it. But also it's the brain network.
But the why around like why that event caused that dream, they can't probably explain that. A scientist.
I said, well, it's not.
Like, could they predict what dream you're going to have?
No.
Yeah.
But I think she must have been thinking about the coat and her brain knew where she left the coat. So that's why the dream unfolded as it did.
Yeah. I still, though, I'm like, it'd be so fucking cool to be able to like predict or say what your dreams are going to be.
Well, so Paul, my husband, this is long before I was in his life. He was, and we don't have time anymore. And I think he would still be interested in it, but he was so interested in the concept of lucid dreaming.
Yeah.
That he would like try to like wake up and immediately jot down his dreams. Like there are practices that you could do that help you be able to like bridge the two worlds. But yeah, that freaks me the fuck out because then what if you get to a point where you don't know which one you're living?
Yes. No, that's
like the movie Inception, right?
Yeah.
That's the concept. Totally. Right.
Well, it's like, you're like, exactly. Yeah. Anyway, no, I just, it was cool because I think it was like cool for her to tap into that part. Like she's like, wait, Joe, I maybe know more than I do. And I think that relates to everything around like, we all have shit going on that like is a little bit spiritual or a little bit. And like
when signs like that pop up and then you can't ignore them, like that I think is the most amazing thing. That's probably what has made me anywhere on my journey is like shit that has come up that you're like, I couldn't fucking make this up. I couldn't make this up if I tried. Yeah. Right. And then you cannot deny it.
Right.
And people, I don't think there's anybody that would just keep doing it. Right. You just keep getting smacked in the face with it if you keep denying whatever, you know?
I know. It's funny though, but that dream just stuck out to me so much because I was like, holy
wild shit. It's a wild story.
Yeah.
Well, anyway, we have a very exciting episode.
We do.
Coming up.
We do.
Yeah. We had Lindsey Simcik, who is one of my girl crushes for sure.
Yeah.
Host of Almost 30.
Wonderful.
A big part of, but inspired me to even do this and seeing people do that. So we got the chance to chat with her.
It was so wonderful getting to know her. And I think she's also a fellow toddler mom. So it was really nice to connect in that way and just hear about why she wrote her book with Krista, and we got into some human design stuff. We got into some like me expressing anger about where I am on my path. You know, we go down a couple different routes, and she really has definitely knowledge and some grounded ideas that can really help. And it was really fun talking.
Yeah, really great tangible takeaways of things you could implement. And if you're curious on the part of your path of how it manifests or, you know, how it'll relate to your life, I think it's a really, really great episode to dive into.
Yay.
Well, we're really excited today.
We are.
I'm probably a little too excited.
No. So I'm really excited.
Come across. But today we have a very, very special guest, Lindsey Simcik, the co-host of Almost 30, author of the book Almost 30, new-ish mom like us, and entrepreneur, founder of the brand New Mom on the Block, and so many other things. So yay, Lindsey, welcome. We're so happy to have you.
Oh, I'm so pumped to be here. When you were like, okay, we're moms, I was like, say no more. Let's rip.
Oh man,
let's rip.
So much to
I'm
talk
super
about there.
honored.
Yay. So I do want you to take us back to the very, very beginning though. You've had this podcast now for, is it 9 years?
Mm-hmm.
Holy crap. So you were in this closet, right? Obviously you couldn't have predicted maybe the way that it's gone, but what were you like? Can you put us in your head in that moment? Like what were you thinking and feeling starting a podcast? Like what was going through your head then?
Yeah. So much and so little, you know. Krista and I met in our late 20s. Krista's my co-host, co-founder, and best friend, real life best friend. And we met in our late 20s when, we were going through it. We were connected through a mutual friend because Krista wanted to audition for SoulCycle. I was working at SoulCycle at the time as an instructor, but we just quickly bonded over just the what the fuck part of our lives we were experiencing. Like things were falling apart. We just felt like we should have had it more together than we did, and just feeling frustrated and really out of alignment in so many ways. Krista was going through health issues. I was, and she was really wanting to find her purpose. I had, blown up a long-term relationship who I thought was going to be my person. And I was also just swimming in debt, and just not my best at that time. But our friendship soon became this safe haven, and our conversations were so comforting. And she came to me one day and said, "Do you think we could start a podcast?" And I was like, "What's a podcast?" But I am always as a performer and actor, creator, I'm always down to create anything. And I don't need it to be guaranteed to make me money. I just love creating. So I was like, yeah, let's do it. I have a $15 recorder in my kitchen drawer. Let me grab some AA batteries, and I'll meet you in one of our closets because the acoustics are great in there. So we practiced for 6 months and really got to know each other on a personal level, understood our chemistry behind the mic. And just kind of found our podcast legs, if you will. And after 6 months, we're like, we got to put this out. It's not perfect by any means. And you can hear that for yourself if you go back to early episodes. But we just had to put it out. And so September 2016, we put it out. And like you mentioned, we didn't set out to make this what it is today. It was just something that kept calling us forward and just felt really fun to do, to show up a few times a week to record with my best friend, talking about, the musings of our life was a blast. And that just kept us showing up to record. And 9 years later, we've put out at least one episode, most of the time two, every single week. We've never skipped a week. And what was going on for me at the time, or what was going on in my head, is just I was pursuing acting and waiting so desperately to be chosen by someone, by a casting director, just cast in something, and wanting my studies and schooling in theater to be worth it for my parents, just kind of desperately wanting to make it work. And then this came around, and I'm pouring energy and time and my talent into the podcast, and it's really gaining momentum, and it's really fun, and things are just clicking. And it was something that we created. I didn't have to wait for anyone to say, do this thing, or here you go, you're cast in this thing. And so, it was a turning point for me, really understanding that I can be a very active participant in what I create in my life and what I want to do in my life. I didn't have to wait around.
Well, the thing that strikes me, and Sam talks about this a lot, is almost like the ease, right? If you're desperate and you were kind of really wanting things to work out, and then this is it's not hard maybe. In some ways, there's hard work in it, right? You talk about that. And that we have I'm still right on my journey, but I think we all are, right?
Of course.
But that it just kind of, it wasn't maybe something you were forcing.
Correct. Yeah. It had an ease to it. And it had a synchronistic flow. Things just kept showing up for us. For example, we started out on our closet floors, and then we broke into some abandoned WeWorks and stuff. It was kind of weird. And then there was this workspace that had a professional studio that we somehow, kind of struck a deal with them and did a trade. And we were in this legit professional studio as like very new podcasters. And that really gave us so much confidence. And our guests would come in, they're like, oh, damn, you guys are legit. Yeah. So just things kept showing up. But to your point as well, it was really hard work. We were working full-time jobs. We were, recording probably at least 4 days a week. We were putting our own money into this. We were just juggling so much. Krista would take like work calls in between recordings. I would go teach a class. I would come back to record sweaty and disgusting. Like it was a lot, but again, there was never a moment where we said to each other, maybe we should just kick this. Like it's too much, it just never got to that point. It was always the pull forward was always stronger.
Interesting.
Do you, because you were still on your spiritual journey, it was early then, and you've since had a lot of spiritual guests that I'm sure, and practices that you've changed that have put into place. But back then, before maybe you knew that, did you feel a spiritual alignment? Is there a piece of it that you feel like pulled you to keep going, or did that come later?
I feel like that came later, and my awareness of it came later. I definitely think there were forces at work, but I just didn't know. I didn't know what that was at the time. At the time, I was teaching 15 soul cycle classes a week, running my body into the ground. On the weekends, I was drinking a lot. I was going out. I was like trying to find my person haphazardly, and just felt very disconnected from my body. I felt disconnected from God. I felt, I didn't have that spiritual connection like I do today. But the podcast really ushered that in very, very soon after starting, through a lot of our guests and through experiences that Krista and I would have an opportunity to partake in. We've done everything, from the very mild, like sound bath drum circle to ayahuasca in Costa Rica. So, there's a range. And I think, every experience kind of gave me, a little glimpse into what spirituality was to me, and my relationship, how my relationship with God wanted to like reconnect, because I grew up Catholic, and
So did I.
just kind of like church hopping at first, and then converted to Catholicism because we had to for the school that we were at, like just not really ever feeling connected to my faith, just feeling like there was a lot of rules and things I had to memorize, and just not feeling like my God would care about that. So I was like, I'm just gonna, do my thing and not really dabble in that. And, being in LA, I think the spiritual community is like very rich, but there's also so much. It's like a huge spiritual salad. And I'm just like, there was a lot. And I definitely sampled everything, and have honestly come back today to a much more simplified practice and faith view, that I think really works for me now.
I love that. And so that kind of tees up my next question, because with all these guests that you've had, and right, LA is kind of known for being the spiritual kind of place, right?
Yeah.
DC,
Not so much.
So with all of that in mind, I'm curious if you had any guests that maybe you were like really excited about, and then you kind of got to know them, and you don't have to name names, obviously, but if you want to, that's fantastic. but do you get what I'm saying? Like maybe disappointed. Yeah. I think there's part of what we want to talk about is like that it's not going to land. A, it's not going to land for everyone. Everything's not going to land for everyone. But B, there is some like, what's the word?
Like fear monger?
There's some bullshit out there.
Oh, for sure.
Like there's some like people that say they're spirit, that there's some weirdness. So I just want your take on
Well,
that.
at that point, like there's people who are gurus and then documentaries come out about like that are like praying, so it's not always like exactly what's presented, right?
Yes, completely. Yeah. It's something that we write about in our book. And that is, one, your spiritual path is going to be very unique to you. And so I know it can be easy to be on social media or be in a place like LA or, be amongst other spiritual people and feel like you need to do what they have done in order to get like them or be as spiritual as they are or psychic as they are or as connected to spirit as they are. But there's a fallacy there, and it's that you need to go outside of yourself and do things and change yourself in order to be connected to whatever you deem as like, higher than you, creator, God, universe. And it's just not true, in LA, there's so many gurus who I think like knowingly and unknowingly are kind of influencing people in a not so like not so when you're in integrity, what's that word? It's like there's just something, there's just like something amiss there. It's like the intention there is a little off, whether it's for money or for fame or for power. And so what I've learned and I share with people who are, kind of navigating their spiritual path is that you have an incredible innate filtration system with everything, with a piece of food to a guru. You can run it through your system and know whether it is for you or not. And so much of that comes back to your connection with your body and your connection with your soul. And your body is like this crazy antenna. I'm sure you both have experiences of this where it sends you messages all the time. And not always in the most like, hit me over the head type of way, but sometimes it will whisper, it will send a sensation or literal like a message. And over the years, I've learned to listen. I've learned to understand that how I feel when I leave a group of people, how I feel in my body is telling me something about that experience and maybe those people. So trust and practice running things through your own filtration system. How does this feel? How does it feel in my heart? How does it feel in my body? Do I feel like I can be myself when I do this when I'm with these people, when I eat these things, when I partake in these types of rituals? There's so many just very important and simple questions you can ask yourself to kind of run it through your system. And the second piece of that is your soul. And, we talk about this in the book as well, but like my relationship with my soul I think was kind of the opening to my spiritual path deepening. And I got to know my soul through a practice called soul journaling, which we outline in the book, but it's just such a profound practice that gave me a ton of wisdom. I was almost like blown away. I'm like, that came from me, I don't have to like read the book or ask my, spiritual teacher. Like,
Yeah.
there is so much wisdom that lives within us. And that's not to say we can't have a spiritual teacher. That's not to say we can't read the spiritual book, but I do want to implore people to really explore what lives within them already. It will give you confidence. You will trust yourself more deeply, and you'll be able to discern better as you navigate this spiritual space. Because like with anything, there are some traps and just some ways in which, it has been infiltrated, if you will.
Yeah. I have two follow-up questions to that. One of them I want to ask you a little bit later, but it's perfect for this. But the other one, I just want to make it a little more tangible and like relating on a day-to-day basis for maybe people who aren't yet in the deep soul journey. So as a mom to a young toddler, like I loved the soul journaling section of the book. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful practice. How are you making time for something like that right now?
Yeah, totally. I was talking on a podcast earlier and I was talking to another mom and we were just laughing because it used to be that I had a 2-hour morning routine. Okay. All to myself. Yeah, I mean, there's none of that in sight right now. But what I do have is my ability to be in the present moment. And honestly, so many of my very deeply spiritual moments of my life have been in the mundane moments, have been in the small, sweet moments with my family or with my son. And so, what I've actually changed about the soul journaling practice is that it's not always going to be me with a journal sitting down, making time for that. Though sometimes I get that in before bed because there is that window after you put them down.
Yes.
But if I don't do that, then I commune with my soul in any moment I want. You don't need to be like cross-legged on the floor with the candle lit and the crystal and your journal ready. Like you can be on a walk with your toddler, you know, enjoying whatever you're doing, talking to them, and having just a sense that you have a soul and that it is always guiding you. And so can we ask her something? What should we do today? You know, should we make a right or a left right now? Should we go here or there for lunch? Or, you know, there's just ways in which we can engage with our souls that don't have to be so formal, right? And
Thank you.
Right.
so,
Yeah.
like we can right now like connect with our souls just by saying, you know, I would love to connect with you. Like and we could ask our souls to connect with each other. I usually do that before interviews where I just ask our souls to hang and just like connect and commune because I think it's, you know, that's where a lot of the magic happens. I think if we're so in our minds, like it can get repetitive or whatever. But I think, you know, our souls have a really fun agenda. But yeah, I want to take the formality out of all of this, and especially for moms, you know, like talking to your soul, connecting with God, like all of this can happen in an instant, in any moment. It doesn't need to be perfect. You don't have to say the right thing. You don't have to have a journal. The crystal doesn't need to be out. Like it can be so simple and so instantaneous because you have the intention for it to be so. And the intention is everything.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love
perfect. Okay. And then the other question was related, especially with the like tangible component versus communicating with your soul and like the day to day. In the spiritual way, with you referencing like having a guru or, you know, not needing to read the spiritual book, extrapolating that into like the society we live in and social media and all of the stuff that's constantly flying at us and the comparison piece of that, right? Of like, well, this person has this in their lives, maybe not from a spiritual component, but from motherhood, from where they live, from a house, from whatever it is. You guys wrote a book now and it's, you know, versus we're in this beginning of this podcast journey, stuff like that. And so how do you discern necessarily like, what is it that my soul's communicating? What's my actual path versus what do I think I want because I'm seeing it so much?
Yeah. It's I think you're speaking to what a lot of people feel, and they don't realize that they're kind of in that internal battle. I think the first thing that has helped me so much is when I feel that, and I do still feel that to this day at times.
Good, you're normal. That's great to hear.
Seriously.
I need to unplug. You know, I need to stop the scroll. I need to stop the barrage of other people's lives, opinions, thoughts, pictures, video. It is, and it's no one's fault other than mine when I let that happen. When it's, you know what I mean? Like, I love that people are creating. It's amazing. I find a lot of joy on Instagrams. some of the time, most of the time, but I feel like we so easily take on other people's thoughts and dreams and we lose sight of our own. And so I've really had to turn down the noise, unplug, and get really quiet and just get back into my life. And it always helps for me to get out in nature, be with my family, simplify things. Like, I'm sure you both relate to this. When I allow myself to be a child with my child, like really get into his world, like really play without criticizing, without trying to control anything. I mean, my whole system lights up.
Yeah, it's a little piece
There's
of heaven.
nothing better.
Yeah.
There's nothing better.
Nothing better. And that's where a lot of my like ideas will come, or my clarity will come, as far as like what I should create next or what I could be doing next. It is so rare that I have been online on social media and had a I should be doing that, and then I did it, and then like no.
Yeah.
No. Like actually never, and it actually just sends me into kind of like a weird spiral of like, is this mine? Is this not mine? Like I lost the train of thought, just being so confused. And I don't like that feeling. So that is my number freaking one. And as far as like, how do we know whether to pursue something that is, interesting to us and is kind of calling us? All you need to do is take the next best step for you to just like get a little more curious, because every step of the way, if you lean in with integrity and truth and trust, you will get back a little bit of information, whether you should keep going or not. And if you listen closely enough, you will get those answers every step of the way, but you probably won't get the whole path laid out. You won't get steps 1 through 10.
Yeah.
Which is what you want. You think totally on it. And then you're like, oh, well.
But for most of my life, before I've started something like almost 30, I couldn't see 5 feet in front of me.
Right.
Yeah.
We were like, do you want to record on Monday? And I'm like, yes, let's record. That was it. We didn't know if we'd make it to the next episode. And so I just really encourage people who ask me about creativity and that whole process to get lost in the process again. Like, let's not worry about showing it on social media. Who cares right now? This is your sacred process. And if you want to document it on your own and share it later, amazing. That sounds good. But if we are sharing every step of the way or comparing ourselves every step of the way, it's going to die and it's going to become something that you don't recognize anymore. So reclaim the sacred process of being in an incubator and being with an idea and talking to it and experimenting and telling no one other than like the people closest to you, and really like holding that so close. Like, when are people doing that anymore? Do you find?
Yeah, right.
No.
I mean, I know when we started this, I told no one. I mean, it took me a while to even tell my husband. So like, I don't know. But I'm also thinking of it in a perspective of like, because we've moved a bunch and where we chose where we lived. And even like we talk about living here and maybe it being aligned, maybe it not. Yeah. So like in that sense too, from like these deeply rooted personal decisions that are now but have become so much more difficult than I feel like they used to be because of the access and the things that we see.
I think the knowing for me, I remember like, I think it was in the pandemic, I was reading Untamed by Glennon Doyle.
So good.
And she was talking about like her employees and that she was like, I want people that they're knowing, right? And like their gut feeling, I trust that. And if they say yes or no, that's it. And I remember being like, yeah, but how the fuck do you get there? Like, that sounds great. I want to have a gut feeling and I want to know what it is. Like, I have one, right? But I think that's what your book's doing, is more of the how-to. And of course, you're talking about, of course, one of the steps is removing yourself from the noise. But it can be so frustrating when you are in it and you want it. And it's almost like that desperation you were talking about with wanting a part or something, right? You desperately want to connect to yourself, but it's almost like that is getting in the way, right?
Yeah.
The way that you're doing it or the it's just so interesting to me to be like, and still, of course, sitting here early on and I'm still like have some anger and frustration, but it just reminds me of that thing. And I think again, your book kind of talks more about the how.
Yeah, and I think you're bringing up a good point though around decision making. That just makes me think of something that I learned along the way that I think can be helpful for people to explore for themselves. Do you guys know your human design?
Yes.
Yeah.
What are your human designs?
Do you want to guess?
Oh, sorry. We should have done that.
No.
Okay, well, I'm a generator, but you could guess Katie's.
Katie, are you a projector?
I'm a generator too.
Okay, I was gonna
Which
guess.
I think most people are, right?
Yeah, most people are generator. I forget the percentage.
Yeah.
What are you?
I'm a manifesting generator.
Okay, that was gonna be my guess for you.
Similar engine there for both of us, for all of us. But I bring that up. This is, a modality, course of study that just, I think, brings even more like light and clarity to who you are. It's kind of like astrology in that way, if you believe in it. And there is an aspect to your human design blueprint of sorts that points to how you best make decisions. And I'm an emotional authority.
So am I.
Me too.
Okay, so we're all emotional authorities. So we ride waves. We have highs, we have lows, and that is totally normal for us. But we aren't meant to make decisions in an instant. We're not meant to make decision at a high or a low. We're actually meant to sleep on it a night or two, like 24 to 48 hours, and really kind of wait till we're at a more neutral place emotionally to make a decision. And this like changed my freaking life. I was like, oh my gosh, so many decisions I felt like I had to make in the moment because I was feeling so emotionally like charged about it. I'm like, this must be the right answer. And when I learned that about myself, I was like, whoa, because I did feel so different 24 to 48 hours later.
Huh.
Such a good reminder. Like, I forgot that that's our thing.
That's a huge piece. And some people, my son is sacral authority. He is meant to have that gut feeling and go with it right then. But I and my husband are emotional. And so we're not. So I highly recommend people just do like a very, simple breakdown of their human design chart. No need to go too far. But learn your authority, and then you can figure out kind of how you best make decisions. And I think it will be very liberating for people to learn, reflectors of the world, which are, quite rare, but they need to wait a whole 28-day whole moon cycle to make a decision, which is crazy.
That is crazy to think of.
Yes.
My sister's a reflector, and she was always insanely indecisive as a child, but like, it makes total sense. We needed to give her basically a whole month. So I just wanted to share that, because I think, we can think that, oh, everyone's talking about like gut feelings, gut instincts, just go for it. And it's like, some of us are meant to make decisions that way, but not all of us.
I love that.
Yeah.
Such a good reminder. I have not thought about that piece of human design in such a long time. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay, I want to talk about the book. We've referenced the book a lot, but like I guess we could talk about the journey of how you got there, how you felt aligned in that capacity. And then just the other like big takeaway I wanted to hear from you in it, which you may discuss later, but it's called Almost 30, right? It's from the perspective initially of your Saturn return, but of course, like all of the pieces are applicable to you throughout different times of your life. So, who are you hoping picks up this book and like gets, the biggest takeaways from it?
Yeah. I mean, It's an annoying answer, but I really believe that this book is for anyone moving through a season of change. And, spoiler, everyone's going to be moving through seasons of change throughout their lives. This period in your late 20s is a really potent one, though, and I'm sure you both could share stories with me about that time in your life and why it was so transformational and hard, and confusing and somewhat chaotic. I'll just give a brief background as to why that is. So astrologically speaking, you're moving through your Saturn return. So if anyone in the audience doesn't know, Saturn takes about 29 and a half years to come back to the place it was when you were born, come back to the place it was in the sky. And so this is significant because this planet is kind of like your cosmic daddy. It comes in and it's like, hey, so I love you. There are a few areas of your life that are unaligned right now. And I know you kind of feel it. There are rumblings of it, but we're going to take a good, hard look at it, get honest with it, and make choices that align more with who you really are, not who your parents told you wanted to be or told you that you should be, who society told you should be, who you really are on a soul level. And so what this could look like is, it could feel like your life is falling apart. You could go through a divorce. You could move across the country. You could have a baby. You could lose a parent. You could, start a new job. You could lose your job. There's just so many ways in which this can manifest, and there could be combinations of this that are infinite. But what I do know now, and what I would love for people to know going into this period or during this period, or even just coming out of this period, is that, it is a purposeful time meant to work on you for your greatest and highest good. This time can absolutely recalibrate your relationship with change so that when it comes up at many, many, many points in your life, you will not be rocked. You will be excited. You will know that leaning in and being present for it and not abandoning yourself through it will give you the lessons, the growth, the gifts that you truly deserve. So yeah, it's not for the faint of heart, but everyone goes through it. And I think the last piece I just wanted to share that I think will anchor us a little bit is a neurological aspect to this transition. So your prefrontal cortex is coming online at about 26. This is the area of the brain responsible for decision making, for emotional regulation, for long-term planning. And so up until this point, your emotional brain has been running the show. Like impulsive decisions, I'm sure you think of like your late teens, early 20s and all the impulsive decisions you made. Yes. But now these two are syncing up, the emotional brain and the prefrontal cortex, and you're becoming conscious. You're becoming more thoughtful, more reflective. You are being more responsive to your life rather than reactive. It's less about blaming everyone else for where you are and really about taking responsibility and becoming more self-led. So it's profound, and no one talks about this. No one prepares you for this. Like, we talk about after college, you're an adult, or, when you leave home at 18, like we talk about all those things, but we don't talk about this time in your late 20s. And people find themselves on their knees thinking, oh my God, I thought my life was going to be different, or I thought I would be farther along, or who am I? And it's all perfectly normal. And we have to take it very, very seriously.
Yeah, I feel like I always hear about it after the fact. At least I did.
Yeah, of course.
I'm thinking about like my sort of like community growing up. And of course, we've talked about in this area is not, there just isn't the spiritual community, or I found Sam. A year and a half ago.
Spiritual community.
Well, you are my community. But it's just, what's interesting to me is like the people that haven't. So basically right now I am the friend that like after 3 glasses of wine, they want to talk about the real stuff and they want to maybe do that. But can it happen later? And not that you're necessarily an expert on the stuff, but I'm curious about like for the people that are like, I know, and I think what's so funny though is that I think we all went through something. around 29. Like, I think that's a universal thing for sure. Maybe not universally deciding consciously to go on a journey, right? Or unconsciously, but you can decide to wake up or start it at any point potentially, right?
Yeah, of course. I think, what's really interesting about your Saturn return is that it's going to hit places in your life that are very specific to you. And, if you want to dive deeper, you can kind of explore where the planet Saturn is in your chart. And so you'll be able to understand where it's going to hit really intensely. But these themes, whether it's relationships or maybe finances or your relationship with your body and health, these themes are themes that you will carry with you and tend to and dig into for the rest of your life. So if it does come up later, that makes total sense, especially if you weren't consciously aware of what was happening in your late 20s. So, we found out about our Saturn return kind of at the end of our Saturn return. So we were kind of like hip to it while we were going through it, but like truly at the tail end. But I know so many people who find out about it afterwards, and they are totally given the opportunity to tend to it in a way that feels, more conscious and aware, because they are at a point in their path where they're becoming more conscious and aware for whatever reasons, whatever they've learned, whatever experiences they have moved through. So I think, one of the big messages of our book, it's simple and you've heard it before, but we really want to hit it home, is that you are never behind. You are always becoming. There is never a point in your life where you are meant to be anywhere else than where you are. We are meant to trust the timing of our lives, and I know it's hard. I know it's hard to see everyone else have it together, be settled down, or be on their spiritual path way farther along, doing all the things. But at the end of the day, you are where you are meant to be, and it is absolutely perfect according to your soul. She's like, this is perfect. I'm so happy to be here where we are. So yes, you can absolutely tend to these things and move through these things outside of that period. But I do think if you look back to that time, there were rumblings and there were signs to what you might be moving through when you do become conscious of the themes of your Saturn return.
And we're still so young.
Exactly. We're
So young.
babies forever.
Babies having babies.
Come on.
Yeah. Babies having babies. Okay. I know we don't have a ton of your time left. So do you want to jump into the
No, let's do the
grab bag? No?
Oh, yeah. Let's do the grab bag. That's great. Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to ask you a couple. This is like our spiritual bowl of quick questions.
Cute. Love it.
Intended to be like
Yes.
of what comes to mind for you.
So so as like quickly as you can, what spiritual advice do you think is secretly bullshit?
That like you should marry your twin flame.
Oh, that's a good one, Lindsay.
Yeah. Do you want me to expand upon that?
Yeah, let's keep going.
Really? I mean,
I want her to, but
we have a few minutes.
Keep going.
Do it.
Yeah, keep going. I long story short, I just think that, twin flames are meant to come together for a very brief period of time and really like kind of teach each other and move in a way that's very quick, very purposeful. But I don't actually believe we're meant to be with our twin flame for the rest of our lives.
I love that. So interesting. Such a good one. What belief system or person did you give too much power to in your journey?
I think my mind.
Ooh, another good one. These are fabulous answers.
oh my God.
Yeah.
Yes.
Our minds are so powerful, but I think they're really good for certain things, but not for everything. The mind is not God.
That hits.
Yeah.
Eek. Okay. We'll do two more.
Yeah. 5 more.
What's the most unhinged thing you've justified as aligned?
Oh my God. I mean, like everyone I dated in my 20s, I guess. Yeah. I picked all. I don't know. My picker was off. They had no time for me. They would text me at 11 p.m. type of people, and I'd be like, yeah, I'll be right over. Been waiting all night. But so aligned because they were probably my husband, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Totally.
Okay, last one. What part of your identity did you have to kill to grow?
The first thing that comes to mind is the part of me that just wanted so desperately to be liked by really anyone. I'm that recovering people pleaser, and I was the eldest child and just wanted to make peace in the home, make peace between my parents, amongst my siblings. And, that came at a price. That came at a price of just abandoning myself, my own needs, my desires. So yeah, it's something I'm always kind of tending to. It doesn't disappear, but I've gotten so much better, and I've been gifted with relationships that really help me to practice in a very healthy way.
Well, it's conditioning too, right? I think we're all taught at a very, very young age to prioritize everybody else, right? Especially as women.
I was going to say, I don't know that we all are, but I know that we both are. I know you in the book speak about the being polite aspect. And my daughter is like so bossy and so confident in what she wants. I'm like, I never want to break this of her.
I know.
I want her to just be aware of and let it ride.
Okay. It's card pull time.
Yes. Katie pulls a card at the end. And Lindsey, do you have any questions or anything you want to ask of the cards of the source?
Sure. Yeah. I would love clarity on where my focus would be best served as we approach launch week for the book.
Okay. Wow. Okay. So I pulled the World, the Queen of Pentacles, and the Three of Pentacles. So there's a ton of earth energy here. But I did, as soon as I pulled the Queen of Pentacles, I did hear home. So I wonder if there is some sort of aspect of maybe not trying to do everything. maybe going back to, and I don't know if you probably can't see this. Maybe you can. There's this home, this particular deck has it's almost like a womb, or like they're holding the pentacle like in that position. So it did feel like a little, and they're in kind of a meditative state. So it felt kind of like a pullback energy and like a grounded, I don't know if there's but then the World is obviously calling to that you need to be in so many places.
I know.
So that's challenging, but maybe it's just finding those moments to connect. But it's just the energy is so positive. It's so vibrant and powerful and aligned, as you know, but it just feels very, and then the Three of Pentacles to me is the working together, right? Your team, whoever's helping you, there's a lot of supports. It feels good though. It does good. I'm just feeling very relaxed and in alignment, and this is the right thing. So I don't know. I don't have anything crazy or powerful to say except for the cards are.
That makes complete sense. I needed that. Thank you.
Of course.
And so exciting.
Yeah.
Launch week is right around the corner.
And then we pulled one more for the collective
energy.
Six of Swords. So I picked the Six of Swords, leaving something behind. The imagery is they're on a boat, leaving behind things that no longer serve them. That's the quintessential answer there. It feels like I'm feeling like a work project. It feels something unaligned work-wise.
Well, I think from this conversation too, there's so many takeaways of the things in a very small sense, but the things that you can just try to stop doing. Whether it's scrolling incessantly or, doing versions of comparison or, finding this guru, putting too much stock in something else.
Totally.
There's a lot of takeaways of things you can leave behind. And
I love that. Same as our Reiki energy master. So
sure, those things.
You are
beautiful. And Katie, you do. So you do. Do you do readings and
not for fun? Yes.
She won't do them professionally.
I won't.
But she's fantastic.
I won't charge for them, but I just do.
I love it.
I really enjoy it. It's the modality that speaks to me the most because it has the structure right? I think I love that as a Capricorn and as just like, it works very well for me. I love the cards. It's
So
fun.
cool.
Yeah.
I love it. I love like just the modalities we find that really speak to us.
Exactly.
Because there are some that I'm like, yeah, no, I'm not interested at all. And others that like really draw me in. And it's just always so fascinating to see what that is.
Totally. We've talked about that. Like I love tarot. I have tarot decks. I've taken the same tarot course that Katie did, and it just like doesn't stick in my brain in the way that she pulls those cards. And I'm like, I cannot put a cohesive message to that together. And she's like, Lindsey, this is what this means for you. I'm like, great.
No, it's just fun. Right. But I think that's part of this entire point, right? Is finding what works for you and really like tuning into that. And like, this gets me like buzzy, right? This is like fun for me. So it's clearly meant.
Yeah, it's connected. You're not forcing it.
Right.
You know? Katie sometimes dismisses the like connective things that I say and like the honing in on whatever. And then she proves herself wrong when she's like, and then it connects to me.
Yeah, it's a battle. But no, it's fun. We're having so much fun. Lindsey, thank you so much.
It's been fantastic. You are so wonderful.
Oh, thank you both. I love your chemistry. I love just the intention with the show. And if there's any way that I can be supportive, please let me know. I'm happy to help.
Oh, you're fantastic.
Thank you so much. This was so much fun.
We'll keep you posted on when this releases. And
after the book. Yeah.
yeah.
Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you so much for making it happen so quick. Thank you.
Oh yeah, back at you. Thanks for making the time.
Yes.
Of course. Okay, go to your babies.
You too.
See you later.
Bye, darling.
Bye.